Kennedy Brooks and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kidfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today I'm going to talk about Kennedy Brooks, who has returned to the OU football program after news was broken by Jason Kersey of The Athletic as to why he was being held out, which was he was being investigated for a Title IX violation. A female alleged that Kennedy Brooks had been inappropriate with her in a violent way, right? And under federal law, every Title IX complaint that is reported to the university staff has to be investigated regardless of whether there have been legal charges filed. So while that was going on, the program did what you're supposed to do, which is indefinitely suspend that player and remove him from team-related activities. To wit, Kennedy Brooks was away from the team, as we reported on OUinsider.com. While he was away, he was actually staying in Norman and working out at a local high school. Credit to Jason Kersey, who did credit OUinsider.com, my colleague and I, and Colin Kennedy at OU Insider, who broke that news earlier in the week. Now, this is also kind of serendipitous in that Kennedy Brooks was named an all Big 12 running back alongside Oklahoma State running back Chuba Hubbard in the preseason media poll, which I found interesting because, yes, Kenneth Murray Jr. was on it as the only defensive player selected and defensive player of the year after 155 tackles last year, though 47 were solo. And then Jalen Hurts was named the newcomer of the year, but not the quarterback. Quarterback Sam Ehlinger, which is kind of interesting in and of itself because that would mean that there are more media members than not who voted for Sam Ehlinger as the best quarterback preseason in the Big 12, ahead of the guy who went 26-2 at Bama, won a national championship. Now, I see both of those things as interesting because Sam Ehlinger beat Georgia. Jalen Hurts beat Georgia. Sam Ehlinger beat Oklahoma. All right, Georgia beat Oklahoma. Sam Ehlinger also lost to Oklahoma in the game that mattered, which was the Big 12 championship, but he's got that Big 12 energy that people like. And I admit that if I was a Texas fan, I'd be all about Sam Hard G. Ehlinger because he's got swag. He loves to carry that crest. He likes saying things like we're back even after losing 4 games and get doubled up by Maryland, losing to Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and of course Oklahoma. But I thought that this was more interesting when we're talking about player and player development because there is a really good conversation to be had about how Jalen Hurts and Sam Ehlinger are kind of the same player. They're both power runners. They're both very capable with their legs. One is better rolling out. One is better commanding the offense. We'll just see how it susses out, right? Because I still say out loud, Jalen Hurts still needs to be able to complete that ball down the sideline, past 20 yards to his offhand. He needs to get better at his intermediate passing on his offhand. He needs to get better at his shallow passing on his offhand. But if this offense is built around what he already does well, it's not going to really matter because, one, you have CeeDee Lamb, who is all Big 12, and there with Tylan Wallace. Both of those guys ought to be up for the Biletnikoff Award this year. And two, you got your full assortment of running backs back because Kennedy Brooks rushed for over 7,000 yards at Mansfield in Texas. And he rushed for 1,000 yards at Oklahoma. He averaged nearly 10 yards per carry, was a walking first down, 9.6 yards per carry last year. He just needed to put on a little bit more weight, and that is your next great OU running back, even as Trey Sermon is right there with him. Marcus Major seems to be pushing guys like TJ Pledger, and Ramondre Stevenson is the kind of dude that whispers he might be moved to H-back so they can run some real power-oriented stuff because he's just that big. However, there's a lot of moving and shaking to be done. And I'm glad that this got sorted out because I was talking about this earlier on my show, the RJ Young Show on 97.1 FM here locally. There's a link in the description where it's streaming so you can get it. You can download the Sports Animal app, Sports Animal Tulsa, to listen to the show from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. weekdays because I was going, this is kind of thing that Neville Gallimore, Kenneth Murray Jr., Creed Humphrey, CeeDee Lamb, Nick Basquin, they were all going to have to speak to alongside Lincoln Riley next week at Big 12 Media Days. For Oklahoma, that is Monday. And now you get to say, hey, look, he was dealing with some things. He was cleared. He's back on the team. Everything is back to normal and as it was. And this is quite honestly the quickest and most quiet way in which a Title IX investigation at OU among the OU football team has been handled. And it's actually kind of refreshing because the last time that this was dragged out with Frank Shannon, didn't go well, didn't feel great after Frank Shannon got back to being Frank Shannon. And we can all revisit what happened with Joe Mixon before he even played it down at Oklahoma. But as these things continue to go, it was nice to see, one, Kenny Brooks managed to stay quiet about it. The people around him managed to stay quiet about it until, well, we reported it on Monday. And then by Tuesday, you get a decision. And the decision is, hey, Kenny Brooks, go back to doing what you were doing. We're going to dismiss this complaint. Now, you also know that if Kenny Brooks, this is the first and last time that this can happen. And you try to put it back to your side. But by all accounts, Kennedy Brooks is a kind dude. He's a nice dude. Don't know how you necessarily get yourself involved in these sorts of situations, but I wasn't there. You weren't there. We don't know how it could have happened, what happened. We don't know what he said or she said. We only know that it was done. It was dealt with. Kennedy Brooks is back. And now, praise God, we get to talk about football again. And we don't have to talk about crap anymore. We get to really go back to arguing about whether or not Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Sam Harji Ehlinger, even as the media poll would suggest. They believe Ehlinger. By the way, I participated in the Big 12 media poll. I needed to say that. I voted for Jalen Hurts. I voted for Kennedy Brooks. I got those right. I got CeeDee Lamb right. I got Tylan Wallace right. I got like 2 of the linemen right on the offensive line. I voted for Kenneth Murray Jr. at Defensive Player of the Year and in middle linebacker. I put Trey Brown on the Big 12 defensive team, but he got beat out. I understand it. I looked at going, oh yeah, cool. Jeff Gladney from TCU, he can play. AJ Green from Oklahoma State, he can play. So yes, I voted in this, and I voted for Jalen Hurts as all Big 12 quarterback and newcomer of the year. I was outnumbered, quite honestly. I'm really interested to see what the media poll says for who they believe, or who we believe, is going to win the championship. Who is the best team going into the preseason? That's going to be a lot of fun. But now everybody gets to celebrate. Everybody gets to go back to going, Kennedy Brooks is back. Kennedy Brooks is on the team. Kennedy Brooks is working out with the team. And football is 6 weeks away. Thank goodness for that. All right, that is it for me. Doses.